Alright, I am live now. Welcome back. I said I was gonna do, or potentially stream, I keep saying that I'm gonna stream off my schedule, like extra days of the week, but I have not done that, I don't think, ever yet. But let's see, that was the 7th song from the Armored Core Nexus soundtrack. Let's put on the whole soundtrack now. I like Armored Core soundtracks. So this is the rest of Armored Core Nexus original soundtrack, disc number 1. I might have to get just like a big box set of the CDs, but I don't know if they still buy them or sell them. But anyway, this is all the work that I've done this week off stream. Oh. I need to... Let's fiddle with my audio levels. I guess that's about right. But anyway, this is all I've done. I made this little lounge sofa. Not very well, also. There's unseemly things, and I need to do the feet over again. But anyway. This is its context in the world. Let's start, I guess, just with the feet. I'll probably just model them as separate meshes, because it's not like... You know, it's not like carpenters sculpt the entire thing out of one solid thing. They do, you know, they do their own thing. Wait, I need to figure out where these pesky little things are gonna stay. That's about good. Oh. I know. Look at that. I'm a little genius. Oh, wait, let's... Okay. Oh. There we go. Alright, so let's get, little cylinder. Not too big. See, and I guess in other game news, I have been thinking of some reworks to, I have a relatively early in-game level that I keep revisiting because it's very terrible. It's chunk 113. If you've been keeping up, you might be able to figure out where that is, just from me saying it. If you cross-reference every single stream, which, is unlikely. But I'll show it after I get this model done. But basically, long story short, the level sucks. I have an idea for how to make it better. It'll take a little bit, though. And I guess what I'm going to try doing is I'm going to make the game in multiple passes. And I think the start of every pass should be the medium, like this stuff that I'm doing now. Because it really is the, like, most important part of the game. See, how do I actually want this to look? I should probably, hang on. Paint. Where's my recent files? Okay, so this basically wound up being the sofa that I modeled it after the most, probably because it's the simplest looking one. And also this one. Well, I initially started modeling it off of this one, but then I realized this sofa is ugly. Like, why would I base it off this one if I could base it off this one? And this one's basically similar to this one, but harder to model. So, you know, obvious choice there. But okay. Let's understand this shape. So it flutes out. And then it has a little thing. Then another little thing. Then it goes in. and it tapers in. And then it has a very strange, I guess this is just for like wheels, so it can be wheeled around. Maybe I'll just make it not have wheels, because we're already not working with much space here. This is a very low-sitting lounge sofa. Because, like, this is all the room we have. But okay. I like the fluting here. I actually have no idea if that's the proper term. I don't know any meanings of words related to furniture. Don't I have... Okay, I do have auto smoothing. It's just not applied here. There we go. What am I missing? Let's start from the very basics. Oh wait, I don't even have my chat window open. I think pretty soon I'm probably gonna have to take like a week-long break again. Or actually no, a couple weeks, because, you know, I'm already basically not streaming for the entire week. So I think I want to take like a couple weeks. And then after that couple of weeks, I'll then resume streaming like 4 days a week instead of what I'm doing now. But I have an idea for a small game that I'd like to do within like a little gap. So that could be good. That could get my brain sort of reset. Get an easier project. Well, I guess basically, I'll just spoil what it is. Basically, I want to make a rhythm game where you don't hear the music that the character is listening to. Like, it's canonically like the premise is she's just listening to something on her earbuds, and there's no and you're just like seeing her go about her day, silently dancing. So I thought that would be funny. But I'll have to, well, I think it's one of those ideas where you couldn't make a whole game out of it, even if you tried. Like, so it's only going to be like a 2-minute song or something. And then the fun part will be like making funny little like sketches of what's happening throughout her day that she's just ignoring and dancing through. These are good enough. Okay, so what else do I need? I need to make these not like look at this. Shameful. Complete disaster here. Alright, how does this handle this? Okay, it has this fabric just loop around completely. And it also needs to taper off a little bit. Let's try that. So let's do, like, connected only. I don't think this will quite do what I want. And I'll do, like... I also have to do, like, make this not bad. Well, actually, because the player only sees it from this angle, I might just not care too much about the quality of this side. But oh well. What am I trying to do here, and why is it not working? Let's do like 60 degrees. 5, 3. Okay, and this extrude's fine. So what if I change this, then let's just have it, let's just fudge it. So it'll be like, I think this and this come out here a little bit to round it out. And these will come out to round it out. Oh yeah, I forgot I was gonna play music from the, what is it? Signal from Tolva, which is a game that I played last night, which I'm still mixed on it. I think it has, well, right now it feels like Borderlands if Borderlands was incredibly slow. Like, and you just walked very, very slowly, and there's also only 2 guns or 3 guns so far. You know, like they have an assault rifle, a sniper, and then like a like I win gun. At least when the enemies use it. But okay, I'm gonna say that's good for now. So we have our terrible, ugly chair. Actually, while I'm here, let's start at least doing like any sort of like visual appeal for this thing, like zero 2 0 1 8. That looks okay. And let's also do here. I should play some of the Armored Core games, because I've like... That might be what I've been missing, because I've been looking for fun games. Like, I just actually beat Celeste, so I'm working through the B-sides now. I just got done with the first B-side for Forgotten City, or Forsaken City. And that's been pretty fun, though I'm not... I've realized... I recently watched a YouTube or a video essay by Patricia Taxon where she says that, you know, difficulty is like spice. It's not necessarily good or bad, it's just a flavor that some people have a palate for. And in that metaphor, I am a Nebraska cowboy, where the spiciest thing I've ever eaten was the black pepper on my corn cob. Because I have very low tolerance for frustration. And also, I cannot for the life of me figure out things that are moving on a rhythm. Like, if you've played Celeste, the hotel, it's like, the first 2 levels took me like 10 minutes each, and then the hotel took me like an hour and a half, and I died 150 times. Where the other ones, I didn't even break 30. Like, and that was just like basically a blind run. Well, I guess not blind. I think the last time I played it, I got to the hotel and then just stopped playing. I was like, okay, this sucks. I hate this. I just can't figure out... Okay, actually, I want to figure out what this table's going to be. But I think I just have to get good at them because, you know, there's an interesting gameplay thing there of like, you know, trying to figure out, excuse me, where you're going to be in like half a second and where the thing is going to be. Like, okay, how long do I jump? Or how long will I be in the air? And what is the state of the world going to be when I'm, you know, reach the ground? Victorian and table. But I just don't have the brain for it. I think I needed to like grow up playing like Super Meat Boy and stuff. It's like how some people have like you know, like they grow up playing Halo, so looking and moving with 2 analog sticks is just completely natural, where some people just don't have that and just can't do it. I think it's like that. And my poor little brain, my poor little baby brain, I just can't figure out how to do anything else. Or how to like work it. So I might just add a bunch of them into, well, now that I've played Celeste, honestly, I kind of want to just steal a bunch of mechanics from the game, like things like moving platforms that you can walk on and climb on to activate. I think that's a really seamless idea. I think it's way better than my idea of hitting a switch, though I think, or at least, you know, it's a different form of challenge. Oh wait, I keep opening these as new things. I want them to all be in the same image as a just a mess. But like that's a way better idea. I'm definitely gonna steal that. I like the momentum-based stuff. I like having. I haven't actually played the core yet. I've just seen it because I'm a, you know, one of those people who watches games before I play them. But I like the mechanic of not getting your dash back, and I think I could do the same thing with not getting your stamina back when you touch the ground. And if I had a separate grab button, I would 100% steal, like, throwing Theo around or throwing the jellyfish around, which also I haven't played Farewell. I mean, I only beat one B-side last time. Or, yes, today, actually. This one looks pretty good. I think I have to figure out... I think this... So, my little table... I should probably make it consistent with this. So we have the swooshes. Also, I guess the one interesting thing I did here was I made this arch at first with a curve, and then I converted it to a mesh, and then I modeled it. Also, I need to, like, fill in this gap. I need, might just need another curve there. Oh well. Or another, like, pair of vertices. Yeah, anyway, Celeste's quite fun. It kind of brought me back into, like, okay, I can see how, like, 2D platformers can have a sense of exploration now, because that's been... Like, that's why I tend to not play 2D versus 3D. I like the sense of, like, exploring a place, and Celeste is very good at that, where I haven't really experienced that in, like, most other, like, 2D platformers, or even games that are, like, from a 2D lineage. Like, I played some of Super Mario Odyssey, but it felt more like an obstacle course than, like, exploring an environment, so I just didn't get into it. I'm just grabbing a bunch of, like, random things. Okay, I think I got what I want. I think I'm gonna do something like this. Well, maybe I should save that for the little table. Or the low table. Because this one's a bit too high for that. I will make it thicker here. Wait, how does this work? Okay, so it has the bevel, then it has this, then it has the drawer. And now I can Alt-Tab between them. So let's just try. I see what I'll do. Oh, wait. SY2? No, SX2. SY2. Does that get me a square? It does. And I'm going to go from a square to cylinders as if it had been carved from the wood, and they carved a single block. These are a little bit much, though. What if I do SY 1.1? Yeah, I'll have to figure out more games that emphasize... I don't know, there's just some... This may come as a shock, but there's just something really enjoyable about Celeste's, like, exploration. That I haven't really felt even in, like, exploration-focused platformers. I think... Well, I have played Rain World, which is definitely very exploration-focused, though it's also, like, too hard for me. Very difficult. Maybe a little bit too much exploration focus in that one. Wait, I know what to do. Oh wait, dang it. Selection to cursor. Almost. What have I done? How does this... What am I doing here? Can I snap... let's snap the cursor to selected again? Okay, so I think I'm just doing this wrong. That's unfortunate. Oh well. I'll just eyeball it. I'm not much of a carpenter. Still don't know if my neighbors deliberately like stomp around when I'm making noise or like streaming, or if, because I can't think of any time except for like 1 in the morning where they stomp around so much. But I also don't really pay attention unless I'm streaming. Like I don't really care about like extra noise. Is this not a square? Oh, I get it. It's because this is a hexagon. Right, okay. Let's yeah, let's leave it as it is. Let's make this smooth. Let's make it auto smooth. Yeah, good enough. Wait. And that's about as good as I can get it. And this one won't be anything fancy. It'll be basically the same style as the other one, where it, like, flourishes out from a mostly level thing. Then tapers in. Something like this. That's a little... This is a little much. There we go. That, like ultra, like, change in detail was giving me anxiety. In fact, I think this... There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the thing that annoyed me most about the game, Signal from Tolva, which is that there's these mazes, and I think they're pretty interesting in the fact that they don't seem, or they don't connect physically. Like, you'll go down a hallway and you'll take like a right turn, and then you'll be back in the same hallway as before, and it's very seamless and it's very interesting. But the only thing that I've seen them used for so far is just making the player really lost, which is like I don't find getting lost particularly fun. And especially the one that the maze that I was just in the game that I last left off with was the thing that was actually throwing me off was I went into the maze and then I came out of, and I went down a hallway and I thought I'd got to the end, and then I took a turn and I just wound up outside. Like, I was like, oh well, I just fucked up, because at various points it'll just teleport you back to the start of the thing if you mess up. But it turned out that was the end. There was just nothing at the end of the maze. Like, there was literally nothing of interest inside the thing. So when I was teleported back to the start, which was supposed to tell me that I'd, like, completed the maze, I just thought I had done something wrong and not found where I was supposed to go, because it wasn't anything interesting. It was just for, like, resources, which I always have, like I have, like, thousands of them. I don't even need them anymore. I've been able to buy literally everything in the game the moment it becomes available, because I just keep vacuuming up the resources. So just getting the equivalent of like $20 from walking around a maze for literally half an hour. There was an achievement for being stuck in there for half an hour. Anyway, I'm rambling. But basically, long story short is, I'm not gonna... It made me realize that I should probably not do the same thing in my game, because I don't like it. And, like, you know, I don't especially care if I like the game that I make, or if I want to play the game that I make, but if it's something where, like, basically, like, if I don't have a strong opinion on something, I should probably just design what players would actually enjoy playing. Let's see, what is my cutoff here? Because I want this to be... There we go. I should figure out... This will be tricky. Wait, no, this won't be bad. Basically, I want this to have a seam here, but not here. There we go. Yeah, the game isn't... It's not a game I hate, but it's not a game that I would recommend strongly. And I'm not... I forget why I bought it, even. Like, I don't remember hearing of it. So, but for some reason... Like, typically when I buy something, it's because I've heard a recommendation, or, like, there was some interesting feature that I wanted to see. But yeah, I just don't remember why I bought it. Because I bought it and then I didn't play it for months and months. Which is a bad habit I have. But okay, so for this table, I want nice little curved legs. Because now we have the little cylindrical, like, lathe things. So now we need our fancy carved legs, like this and this. And then again, I did play the game until, like, midnight. Like, I played it for, like, 6 hours, so it can't be that bad. Wait, no, I think I only played it for, like, 3.5, but... I guess it's... Well, I suppose it wasn't necessarily a positive. Because it's, like... If I were to be really mean to the game, I would describe the gameplay as Borderlands, but not fun, but just as compulsive as Borderlands. So I'm still, like, vacuuming up all the resources and shooting all the enemies because it makes numbers go up. But I don't really like it. Like, the shooting is very dull, as I mentioned. Walking around is very dull. But, I mean, numbers go up. How can you say no to that? There's numbers and they go up. So my rat brain says that it's a good job. Alright, what am I doing with this? Is this going in or out? Let's save this. Okay, in a little bit, out a little bit. I'll even make it look good. Maybe. Blender just crashed on me. Did I not save? Hang on. I didn't save a damn thing. How did that even happen? Okay, whatever. It's not like I did anything. Like, but I got this done. I rambled about a signal from Tolva. Maybe if I read the lore. Because there's a lot of lore that it gives you, but it's very out of the way. Because you have to go into your map and then press the D-pad up to see it. Alright, that's basically what I got. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do, well, no, I kind of want to do a nice, you know, the nice round thing here. But now that I'm looking at that, it will be tricky. Let's try with Bezier curves. And I'll just make this whatever size I can muster. Can I like control R? No, how do I split? Y? Y? Curve split. It doesn't seem to... I mean, I can do that, and I can do this. I mean, I guess this does what I want. Just does it with some cruft on it. Maybe if I make this 0, then I can just play with this one. I think that, yeah, I think that does what I want. Then maybe I need this one to also be 0. Oh, how do I make these? Oh no, how do I make these like even? Let's make these like easy to understand. So 0.3, 0.2, 0.25. 0.3, 0.2. And that gets me a half circle. Oh, whoops. Oh, wait, I can make this... Oh, wait, no. Okay. So this... Well... Now that I'm thinking about this, this isn't what I was designing. Like, this isn't the shape. I guess if I flip this around. Well, I should probably have just drawn it out, what I wanted. Because, like, you know, if I don't know what I want, can I describe it without looking at it again? I can, sort of. So it's basically like that, yeah. So this is circular. Then it continues seamlessly from here, off on a tangent. And then here it goes into there. So I haven't designed that. I have designed something different. Well, I guess I can just do the opposite angle here. This will be tricky. I have a good idea. So let's call this, I guess HD Chapel 2 is fine. So I'm going to try 1.1.1. 12. Let's just try, like, modeling out just the raw geometry here. Not terribly impressive so far, but maybe with some work. Okay, this part is just laughable. Also, I really wish there was a way to just select vertices from the side. I know a good tactic for this. Also, this should be just another sphere. Or a cylinder. And this laughably ugly display. Okay, I'm gonna just get rid of this part. We need this to go at a 90-degree angle, I think. Then it will go into... So I think it should continue smoothly into here, and this one should go at a 90-degree angle to sort of parallel the structure there. You know, so it's like... boom. Right in there. Oh, right. Okay, so these actually have to be Can I not? Okay, jeez. This one has to be separated. Is it separated? Why are these like all weird? Alright, has YouTube there it goes. It was unsatisfied with my watching. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to do that. I think. I don't think that actually would help me, though. Yeah, now that I've done that, I could have just extruded this. I mean, I guess this could save some vertices. Wait, why is this not? So that I press F and then there's a wait, what is this? This is gonna be ugly as sin. Let's just forgive that for now. What is this? What is with this one? There's something wrong with these ones. Is it like... It has to go up to 80 degrees to smooth this out? Why? Like, I think it doesn't understand. Well, no, because this should be like, this angle is less than well, one is I don't quite get what angle they mean. Do they mean like, so if we continue that out and then measure that angle between these two lines here, then it certainly looks less than 30 because it's less than 30 here and this is a cylinder. Also, I don't even know if this is like the right size. Because now that I've done all this work, like I move this, it's not even like close to being accurate. I mean, I guess I can just do... I know. I know what I'm going to do. It's going to be there. This will be there. There we go. And I need to figure out why these are not correct. Like, yeah, no. These are... But why? Why can't it just be a cylinder? Like, it looks... Like, it's literally... Okay, I guess maybe it's not fine. Like, here as well, it does the same thing. But then why only here? And why do I have to turn up the angle, like, so dramatically? Like, to, like, 75 degrees. This isn't a 75-degree angle. Like, now it means that basically everything else is completely smooth. What if I just add another cylinder? And then smooth that one. Okay. We're getting some interesting interpretations of 30 degrees here, I'm seeing. Does it change? It changes. Okay. It's like a rounding error. Okay, I think I know what I can do to solve this. Maybe. No, this isn't working either. Is this? Oh. I was trying to just like Alt-S to make it extrude like by normals, but it's extruding in that direction as well. Maybe if I do this? No. So what I'm getting here is that it actually doesn't seem like a rounding error, because if it was, it would be like, you know, like a small change would be able to fix it. Like, that's why I was setting it to like 31 degrees or something, to make sure that, like, because if it's a circle that's 12, you know, it might not exactly get 30 degrees, just because of the way, like, you know, because that's, you know, mathematically it should be exactly 30 degrees. So in an imprecise and imperfect world, with these imperfect approximations, you know, 30.1 might be necessary for getting the sphere or cylinder even. But here's just like, okay, let's get this back smooth. So there's just something wrong with Blender's auto smooth, I think. Because like, it should not take 55 degrees to make a sphere with 12, or a cylinder with 12 faces actually like even. Hang on, let's see. Maybe I'm using like an old version of Blender, because this seems like a bug that someone would have noticed. Because this just seems like a straight up bug. Blender auto smooth bug. Because I don't want to use edge split, because then my save system doesn't work properly with the because then I have to not save here. I have to press this button, then remove it from here. Because otherwise I just set mark sharp and use the edge split modifier. But someday I'll fix that. Wait, hang on. Hold the phone. What I'm seeing here does this... Somebody said that you can use that Mark Sharp also works with auto smooth. I'm going to try that because it doesn't look like it's working. Oh, it does. Okay. It was just because I only had the one edge. Okay. Well, that's my new answer. I guess I should have assumed that it could work. Since it'd be incredibly dumb if you had an explicit like mark sharp button and then it only worked like it didn't work with auto smooth. But that I guess just edge split it's only for like the slightly different process of like whenever the person genuinely needs the edges split rather than how I've been using it, which is basically just however I've been using it. Oh wait, this will be tricky. Not really. Oh. Hold N. On the outside. Well, you know, it approximates a table, and I think at some point that's all I can ask for. And I'll even just... So this is HG thing. Let's just call this like end table. Because like I don't need this HG prefix. You know what, I'll use this as an opportunity to talk about another thing I've been thinking of. I feel like good media has two components. It has basically like the higher concepts, like, you know, the plot of a story, who the characters are, things like that, or like for a game, it would be like the genre, the overarching like gameplay elements, and the gameplay like the ideas behind it, basically the things that people are going to be talking about if they recommend it to a friend. And then the other aspect of a game that is necessary for people to enjoy it, I'm not going to save this, is basically the like nuts and bolts of the game, like, or whatever media it is, like, you know, the audio mixing, the like, does it respond consistently to like players pressing buttons? Does it run well? Stuff like that, like the very like nuts and bolts, low level details of all of it. I think a good game typically has both of those elements, but the vast majority of the game is going to be like, you know, like things like the modeling in here is not like, people aren't going to be talking about how well modeled this table is, or like stuff like that, but it all contributes. Like if this was poorly modeled, or I guess I should say worsely modeled than it is, because it's not especially, you know, it's not like a fantastic model, but like this contributes to the whole experience that people are going to talk about if they talk about the game at all. Let's see, so I want probably just 2 of the same chair. But I think a lot of problems with modern, like, when people, like, sort of just find a game competent but bland, it's probably because they worked very hard on all of the, like, finer details of it. Like, the thing I think of is the game Rage 2, which everyone talks about, like, how well designed, like, how fun the gameplay is and stuff like that, but then you'll find a lot of people just don't recommend it because otherwise it doesn't have anything to really, like, hold on to or, like, gravitate toward. And I think it's, like, and the story is, like, bland, and the world isn't exciting and stuff like that. And I think it's because, you know, it focused on all of this finer detail stuff, and it nailed it very well without having, like, the big picture in mind of, like, okay, why are people going to, like, remember this game and care about it? Like, what is it bringing to the table that people can like, think about? Because, like, you know, like, I've done, like, tons and tons of, like, little detail work, like input buffering and things like, you know, basic, you know, like all the basic controls. I've done a bunch of work on making sure that every time the player presses a button, it, like, matches their intention well. And if I just had that, it'd be like, oh yeah, this is a solid, like, platformer. But then there wouldn't be anything else to, like, for the player to talk about. Like, you don't just talk about something like, oh yeah, it's done really well. You know, it has to have something bigger than that. It has to have, like something that just your average Joe can actually verbalize and talk about, for them to, you know, talk about it. I don't quite know what I'm rambling about, but I'm gonna... Okay, so I have some ideas for chairs. So I'm seeing trends here with all of these. One is this, I don't know what this is called, these buttons. You know, that make the chair horribly uncomfortable because it's now all lumpy. But that seems to be a common pattern here. But also, I see it has sort of a taper at the waist. And it flares out slightly. Then I do like this. The fact that there's these little, like, divots for the legs. That seems comfy. So we have this sort of that there. Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure, because I want to make a video sort of about that concept of, like, you know, like low level and high level, because I think there's merit to playing games that do one well, but not the other. Like, you know, like, I think people obviously know about, like, games that have interesting concepts but don't execute on them very well, where basically, like, you know, they have the broader ideas in place that are very interesting to think about and talk about, but just the, like, raw act of playing the game, there's a lot of stuff that's missing in it. Like, maybe, like, it has bugs, or there's just something wrong with, like, the feeling of it, or, I don't know, the audio is mixed badly and all the elements, like, because you can even see it with stories and things, like a plot can have a very interesting premise and then not go anywhere because it's, like, not fleshed out properly. Like, characters are not communicated clearly, or, like, you can't quite understand the chronology of events or why characters are doing things that seem to be, like, important for you to understand. Let's see. I think I like... I'm just kind of copying this specific chair, but I think I would actually prefer the round arms on this one. But then there's also the opposite, I think, is interesting to look at, like games that are, like, what we would call, like, blandly competent, where, like, all the smaller elements, all the little things are done well, but it's missing something in the big picture. You know, because the craftsmanship is there, the direction isn't. Or, like, the purpose of it. I guess that's a good way of thinking of it. Like, you know, craftsmanship versus purpose. I don't quite understand. Okay, so I think it just attaches, like, it's just a separate piece of wood that's bolted on there, or, like, glued in or something. And then this is fabric in here. Yeah, I guess in summary, I would like to make a good video game. Instead of not making a good video game. I think that's a, you know, and I think now that I have some vague platitude of what it means to be a good video game, I think now it's just a sure shot, you know. You know, I mean, all I have to do is, you know, have a strong purpose and expert craftsmanship. I think that's, you know, harder said than done, as they say. You know, the real hard part is just figuring out that you should make things good. You know, every element of the thing should be good. You know, I think that's where a lot of developers, I think they just forget that you know, they forget that you should make the good video game, and then they're like, you know, so I think basically I should be hired for $500 an hour as a video game development consultant. See, it kind of, let's see. I like this a little bit. Or maybe I'll do it more like this one. Alright, there we go. That looks good. I don't even know how well it comes up on the stream. With what the artifact, you know. Well, actually, now that I've done all that work, it doesn't even look quite right with what I have. Where's my collage of Victorian living rooms? Medium room ideas. Oh. Oh, these aren't... Okay, I forgot. I don't have an actual, like, collage of things. I have a... Where's that link? That's not what I want. I just have a bunch of links to things now. I don't even bother saving it myself. I'm so lazy. Okay, because I want... Because now that I've... These look more like dining room chairs. Like halfway between dining room chairs and living room chairs. But I mean, I guess... Yeah, we have sofas and the wooden chairs. Yeah. Well, this one looks quite nice. I mean, maybe we should have a regular sofa. No. Okay, I like this chair. All that work, and I found the obvious correct thing, which is just... Not quite. So how does this work? There's a subtle little thing, and it comes up, comes around, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Well, there's also sort of like a... Sort of like this. Kind of. I don't actually quite follow what's happening here. I think maybe it turns into a solid piece down here, so this is all like one solid thing. And then there's light cushioning on the side here, but then it's actually like just a solid piece there. And then we can have this like that. And we have our lovely cushions and pillows. Pillows are a must. I'll maybe have one chair without pillows, one chair with pillows. I might wind up making a chair like this anyway, because I think we do want some extra seating here. Because eventually I also want like a stand-up piano in the corner and stuff, but that'll be saved for later. Once I've gotten the whole like thing under control. Wait, no. I'm going to do... this again. And I wonder if I can figure out a way of, like... Can I just add a mirror modifier? I can. Let's do some clipping. And I guess I won't worry too much about whether or not this works, or if this is scaled properly, I should say. I'll just make the shape comfortable looking. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so now I need to eventually, let's do like dissolve these. Oh, wait. Hang on. There we go. I guess for now the rest will be fine. Oh yeah, I guess also the other main takeaway from my big ramble about what makes a game good is I should play Rage 2. Which might not be the wisest takeaway. But I don't know. I liked the original Rage. I like Borderlands and stuff like that. And honestly, this signals from what was it? Tolkov? Signals from Tolkov is making me miss, because it does have some interesting conceptual stuff, but it's making me miss like playing it. I miss playing Halo Infinite. Is like, I think, the damning statement of the day. Because I just want to like shoot the guy in a fun way instead of just this really like walking around very, very slowly. But I mean, the numbers go up, so I guess I can't complain too much. Alright, but let's do... What am I trying to do here? There. Where does this go? I guess like this. Hang on. No. Let's just get... So all this I've done poorly. This comes back out. Until I actually know what's going on here. Maybe. Let's just not even... Let's try this. I mean, I guess I can just replay Borderlands 2, but... Okay, I guess other games that do the same, like, conceptual... Like, have that same interesting, like, conceptual versus, like fundamentals dichotomy are, like the game Scorn, I think, is a recent example of a game that's, like... It's conceptually very strong. But the actual, like, gameplay doesn't leave... Or it doesn't get people as excited as the actual... Like, playing the game is not as fun as just, like, looking at it. And it's, I think, because, you know, they started from, like, we want to make art, or we want to make a game inspired by this particular artist's aesthetic. And then it's like, what does it mean to interact with that art? Also, the game Stray is another one that I'm thinking of. Where it's like, you know, it's all about the vibes of being a cat in a cyberpunk world. And then the actual gameplay isn't really leaning into being a cat as much as it could. Why is X... Is it because it's... Oh, it's because it's global at the start. Okay. You know, let's just make it 180, and I'll do the... I like that trick with the smoothing. Do I want it to come out this far? And this is what I put in the curve. But I think maybe I just didn't think this through as like a chair. Oh well, I'll try this. This is a lot more... This is a lot thicker than the chair that I was referencing. Oh well. Let's see. It's very clunky transition between these two as well. Wait, I don't want that. And I think here I'm gonna have... I guess this should also be. Yeah, this will also be there. And then I think I'll have a cushion here that masks anything of interest in here. Wait, I can just do... Now time for the greatest edge, not the greatest topology the world has ever seen. Get your gizzard glistened by that. All you Blender aficionados. All you Maya fools. All you ZBrush people. Observe my power and cry in fear at this. Let's see. I mean, I mentioned earlier that I was going to probably take a break from streaming for a little while, or I guess working on the game for another project just to sort of relax and reset myself, because that was really good for me when I did it like 2 months ago. But I should probably, or I want to make a devlog before then, but I'm not sure exactly on what. So I think it'll be, maybe I'll just do, maybe that'll be what the Discord is for. Maybe I'll just ask there what people want to see. Because I've been thinking of either doing like sort of in-depth game tech stuff. But the problem with that is people who like that'll attract a lot of like Godot fans, but Godot fans don't buy games or play games. Like I once published one of my games on the Godot subreddit and I saw 0 downloads. I saw not a single person play the game, even though it got like 400 upvotes in the Wholesome Chungus Award or whatever. And it's like I can see on Itch.io that it's still at 0 plays, you guys. And also, I don't want to do like tech support when people inevitably like ask me about like if I did any like skipping around in describing like my workflow. So I'd probably have to make it clear that I'm not friendly. Like title it something like the last Godot, like the last movement tutorial or something. I know where I'm gonna mark. Sharp. Look at that. Because I don't want to come across as too, like, friendly in my videos, because I'm not friendly. As in, like, I'm not looking to make friends with people. I'm looking to, well, I'm looking to shill my video game, basically. Wait, I don't even need this. You know, so if people are only coming to the channel for tech stuff, then I'm not going to find the audience that I actually want. And I think that's a useful part of being a content creator, is like thinking about like, who do you want looking at your work? And what's the actual like end goal? Like my end goal is I want people to play the video game. So if they don't play it, then like I've just wasted my time. You know, because like I don't really care about like views and stuff. Let's see, I want this to be the opposite. I want this to come out a little bit. So it'll do like the thing that I was seeing on those chairs. Where it'll go like... well, no, now that I've done that, that looks ugly. And this chair, you know, I'm not in love with this chair, but it's all I got, and I don't want to make another one right now. I don't know, maybe I'll do something else, because the problem is I want to do a one about game feel and one about writing, but I don't think the writing is in a state where I can really brag about it, and neither is the game feel. Because to improve the feeling of the game, at this point I'll just have to reanimate and re-rig Jackie. Because game feel, I think, is mostly animation. Like, the reason, like, an attack in Elden Ring feels more powerful than an attack in Silent Hill 2, even though proportionally it does basically the same damage, and proportionally, like, there's the similar, like, wind up and end lag timing, is because Elden Ring, you're swinging a big sword, and in Silent Hill you're swinging a stick. Like, the animation is what guides the feeling of a game. You know, things feel good because they look good, basically. Or they sound good. And there is, like, a little bit of the actual, like, internal logic. But I think with enough work to, like, contextualize how a game feels and, like, present the information to a player in the form of, like, appealing animation, you can make anything feel good. Or you could conversely make anything feel bad. Like, if you had the game like Marble Blast Ultra, where you're controlling a marble and it has all the physics, if you just made the marble not rotate, like internally it's doing the exact same physics calculations, but the model just doesn't visually rotate, the game would instantly be garbage. It would instantly feel like trash. Or if you replaced it with like Mario T-posing, it would feel like terrible trash. But anyway, let's go to 120. No, let's go to... I'm getting a headache. I think it's from like caffeine withdrawal. But anyway, what I'm going to do also, maybe today, is I'm going to make it so that this animation is done differently. Oh, yuck. I forgot I have to apply this. What? Then just... How is that so complicated? Just apply it to all of them. Just apply it to the data. Anyway, also I need to probably, potentially in the future, change how Godot handles animations, because currently it doesn't do it very well. But okay, I'm gonna start, I guess I'll just, first off, let's take this, copy it. Hologram. Yeah. Function. Let's do like a property. Export pool var. So what did I do? I guess I modeled the front. I guess. I hadn't even thought about that. I modeled all the furniture. So I actually got something done on my to-do list. Good for me. Let's say that that's done for now. I won't do the texturing until later. Cause let's do real object visible. True. Set get. Set real visible. So if export var invisible material export material var or I know. Let's do if not so what I'm going to do is basically there's going to be two things. So let's actually get this cracking. So this hologram is now going to be none of these are going to be here. And this will only go up from 0 to 1. Hologram emission, hologram UV scale. Don't need this. Wait, no. This should be h.a. list. Oh. Okay, and the reason I'm doing this is so that way I can have multiple material, like any number of materials that I want, and all they do is basically when I want to hide things, I will set a material override to a custom, like, invisible material. Ah, okay, there we go. And that's because now I'm going to set this in the hologram material. Else. Otherwise, it'll have no material. And also, it should do this for each node. So, like, actually, I have a good idea. And then also for get children or material overlay equals hologram material. And this is so I don't have to deal with a complicated shader for every possible combination of materials that I want to have a hologram of. Because now what I can do hologram material. Let's do a new shader material here, which will be new shader. Spatial. Alright, let's also make this a tool. And this is the reason I have to do this instead of just making an invisible material is because, let's see. Oh wait, where's my, hang on. This activator should now track my hologram material. So it'll be hologram material slash shader param, or colon shader param. Maybe slash? No, colon. Gram material slash shader param. And this will be, I guess this will be fine. Just do anything for me. Gram material. Realness. So what am I doing wrong with this emission? Oh wait, I don't need this. Wait, is it because of this? Oh wait, what if I just do... that. So then... there we go. And I'll have to figure out how to properly scale things with like the UV coordinates, because right now, This song's a little much. Oh, this is the last song in the soundtrack. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with the UV scaling. Probably just once I get the floor and walls textured properly, it'll work itself out to have a similar, like, texture density. Because right now, like, obviously, the density isn't terribly uniform. But okay, so that's just the overlay that all of these are going to have. So how it's going to work is, does this not do anything right now? Slash realness, is that appropriate? Is it supposed to be colon there? I wish I could, like, drag this out more. Because this is, oh, I can. Okay. Hologram material, slash shader param, slash realness. Maybe it's colon? Ah, there it is. Confusing. And yeah, we can see here as well. Is that. And actually, now I need to do this. So go womp and then womp. And this one will go a little bit the opposite direction. So go wow. Wow. And what's going to happen now? Real object visible. Aha, and you see that. And the overlay works. So it goes womp. And then here, this is set. And then it goes womp. And also now we can remove the material from here. So now you see my epic stuff. Almost. Oh, it's because, okay. This material should, for testing, also be in my material overlay. By default, when I do the ready, it'll apply this to all of the children of the media, or all of this. And then I can do the same thing here with our lovely mother. Well, actually, how do I want to do this? Okay, so she's going to have the same thing. But it'll be... And now I need it. So let's get rid of this tween. Where's our poor invisible mother? Oh, right, she's just doing her own thing right now, because I don't have any, yeah, because she's just on her own little journey right now. How do I actually, oh, I know. Let's play, so, if Not stat. Appearance? Uh-oh. How did I do that? Okay, yeah, so it is appearance. Look at this. This is so much more flexible as well. Else. Play. Show. Partial. And also I should do, hide. Let's do if slash else visanim.play. Let's just play backwards. Now I need her actual, like... Where's Mom's stuff? Because now I can actually have, like, proper materials on all this stuff instead of, like, duplicating it. And then eventually I can even make it so that it doesn't do any of the material, like it doesn't run the shader at all for it, for slight performance improvements. But I won't worry about that too much. I don't think a material that samples one texture and then discards the result will matter too much. Oh, not quite. The failed attempt at making a mouth makes it so horrible looking with the very faint, well, not terribly faint shadows of like where her mouth was going to be. Yuck. Yeah, and that might be my project for Saturday, is to actually rig Jackie's face, though I should probably, maybe I'll start with Jackie's mom's face, just so that way I have a canvas to ruin and like delete in shame if it's not very good. Because I also need to add her eyes, because she just has drawn-on eyes right now. It would be interesting if I made it so that, like, maybe her model turns from this into a higher definition version as the time goes on, but that's a little much. Oh, I forgot. I misspelled detail. And I kind of want the same thing here where I do export. Wait, no. Yeah. Oh. All right, let's get the Maybe Ace Combat 4 soundtrack. We have Blockade here. If so var mat equals null, if v else hidden material mum dot material override. So now I can do the same thing. I guess I'll save this as discard. Maybe, I guess there. Wait, what did I just do? Oh, okay. Oh, the discard shader? Hang on, I'm gonna lower this down slightly. So the invisible material shader is pretty simple. It's just shader type spatial, unshaded, and then in the fragment it just discards it. So that way I can have the player be invisible whenever I figure out... Oh wait, I need to put it here. There we go. And then I can set real visible on and off. But instead of simply hiding everything, it keeps its children visible, and that way I can do I can play with this hologram material. So that way I can do like that, and then honk, and then well. Oh, and if you're talking about the hologram shader. Ah, okay. Well, disabling the mesh would mean that I can't show the hologram, because basically my goal is that you go from invisible to visible in a graceful way. But let's see. And I think, yeah, if we go back to the hologram shader, yeah, it's nothing too fancy. It just samples a hologram texture, which is just this little like grate of circles. And then as it turns from 0 to 1, it checks that realness value. So if our alpha is less than 1 minus, or yeah, it's less than 1 minus realness, it just removes it. Otherwise it does this. And actually, I'm gonna test. So what if I did transparent? I guess I could just do... I'm gonna try it. Equals clamp dot a minus 0.0 1.0. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, not quite. Well, yeah, okay, that's not going to be what I want. All right, now what I need. And also now I can do this. And by default, I guess by default she'll be... No, by default she has to be invisible completely. Yeah, hi. Let's see, I'm gonna do Ace Combat 4 soundtrack. And then that. Then let's do the full show, which will be like the same thing. But once we get here, it'll actually turn this on. And then it'll go back down. So that way we get this. Nice, okay. And now I don't have to have like a custom shader for every variation of that, which was a problem I was having. And this should work just as well. I guess I should probably test in-game. I mean, I guess another thing I'll have to do today. Oh yeah, I'm gonna rework this level eventually, because it has to be completely different. Well, the building can stay, but even big things like the fact that it collapses also. I don't want players thinking that they have to blow up every building in the game to get, like, collectibles. Oh yeah, I forgot. Another thing I was going to have on the to-do list for this weekend, re-implement doors. So I have this basically done. I'll preemptively delete that. Okay. Oh, I think she's still invisible. Oh, and also my... Yeah, so there's some jank with this system still, because I need the player to not move until the animation is done, because I can do... Well, there'll be some work. Oh wait, let's see. Yep, it was inspired by Jak and Daxter. Why is my character not showing up? Is she invisible by accident? Oh, it's... I think I know what it is. I think my show partial doesn't, Hang on. Oh wait, no. What is this? Okay. I'll figure that out later. To show partial... No, it should be visible. Then reset, then hide. I forgot to do this one. I actually want this one to be slow. Yeah, it's been about a year now, I think. And it's been pretty nice. Let's see, I think. So this will be there. Then we go to 0. This will be a little bit like this. So she'll just linger ever so slightly longer than the rest of the room, once I actually figure out why she's not, like, doing things properly. So we have these properly working. Maybe if I just make her visible by default. And then if I go to dialogue, yep, yeah, it's pretty cool. The animation player here is very flexible. And you can also create properties in your object and then animate those and then have just whatever function you want called. Let's see, where is she? Maybe, hang on, I'm gonna put a hat on her. So let's do like a sphere. Oh wait, no, I have to do, this will be tricky. Let's do a bone attachment. So like, oh yeah, and also just to, yeah, and these are the properties that I was meaning for animation if you were curious. So like if you do an export var, you can then play with that from the animation player as well and do whatever you want. So this will be for the head. There we go. So now we'll see if maybe there's something wrong with how I'm setting up my animations, but It'd work for that, probably. Let's see, is it? So what's my errors here? Node not found active in... Okay, so that's not... It's not needed. Maybe let's have real visible... Well... I guess what I could do here currently... Let's just make a new spatial material. Currently. And it'll just be red. Well, no, this... No, okay, that wouldn't do anything, though. So what could be going wrong here? If we do show mum, what is mum.hello doing? So if we have the stat for appearance, it'll do show, otherwise it'll do show partial, so let's hide her. And then we'll do show. So either way, if that animation's playing, I guess let's just print. Oh yeah, yep. Swapping them out with the script. Because yeah, that's also the, yeah, the real visible property does that. So that way I can also do that from the animation player pretty easily. And I don't have to worry about, because if you swap it manually from the animation player, you can also do that. But it gets kind of complicated keeping track of what materials are where. Okay, I actually see her... I see her behind the counter, or see her... Oh yeah, and we can see my awful, Yeah, so I gotta fix that animation bug. Let's do that. Let's add that to the list of things that I'm gonna do this week. Maybe redoing can wait. Yeah, you can do it that way as well. I'm just using the script in case I have to, or because I have to set multiple animations at, or materials at the same time. Let's see. So I'll do this first. It's so I can exit. I think it'll be... Actually, both of these will be kind of hard, because Godot doesn't support Okay, so what is going on here? Are the show functions even being called? Show, false, 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 false. Okay. So it's running show partial. Which does that. But then it's not running the animation. Oh, wait, I know what it is. It's because, yeah, it's because this. Oh, that's just for, Git. Yeah, it's basically, I deleted some code, and I have to look back at what I was doing, because I forgot that I set some stuff. Oh, it's because the animation... Okay. That's actually kind of interesting, but something went wrong with my, failed setting key, deactivate, check if hologram visible. Did I freeze something by accident? What is that? Alright, but let's remove my printing, because that looks about right. Let's hide her hat. So what is this doing? Oh, it's because... Okay. So this has to... I forgot to change this. I guess let's hope that that works properly. Oh wait, I know what I need as well. So here. So this activator needs to change. So this deactivate function. Because it needs to actually go, the realness needs to go from 0 up to 1. And then it needs to have this real visible. So it'll be visible here. Invisible here. And it's hidden. Okay, there we go. I'll have to figure out where this is coming from again. Now, well, all that's going to be deleted anyway, because that tower collapsing stuff is bad. It would be fun to have some giant building blow up, but it'll be someone, or something else. I also need to redo that walk cycle. I should have learned how to do walk cycles before I tried doing one. Why is she faster than everyone? Oh, it's because it's show anim. Okay. What does hide do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's not too much that I have to do with it. I think it's just because her head doesn't go up and down. It feels very clunky. Let's do, so show partial. Hide partial. Did I? Oh, wrong thing. Let's see, it's been quite a while. I think it's been like 9 years or so. I have very few complete games to show for it, but I've done a lot of hobby stuff. Wait, I don't need to do printing there. And I did it wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of it's been... Oh, she is still here. Oh, I know what it is. It's because... Wait, no, it's not. Wait, do I do the wrong visibility stuff here? No, I think this is all working correctly. So why is this all weird then? Hmm. Why was she invisible and then visible? What am I doing wrong? Oh, it's because it's playing backwards. Maybe I should do Jackie's walk cycle before I do anything else with, because I'm intending to do some new animations for Jackie, but I'll have to slightly adjust her model and probably do a bunch of work on her rig first. I like that. I like how she lingers a little bit longer than everything else. Let's see. That's about as much as I can get done today. Was all this just today? I guess so. I think this was done like a few days ago. Whatever it is. Alright. Hit, push. Let's add, add. Oh. I might. Yeah, I think you can change the... I think there are properties here. So I could do like, let's see. Screen background. Screen text. Not quite what I wanted. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think the main thing is I'd have to install new stuff. But that wouldn't be too bad. Maybe I'll do that. Nope, I'm Windows 10. I have Windows 11 for work, but there's still like annoying issues with it. Let's see, what should I... Yeah, I could try that. Let's see, so I guess my agenda for tomorrow is gonna be... I guess I can try... Wait, no. Re-implement the medium stores. Yeah, that is the most important. And then this one. And then, maybe placeholder materials for... Let's see, I think this is a manageable workload. I think this one is probably going to be the outlier, because that's going to be... Maybe let's practice... Try... Mom's face. But alright, I guess that'll be it for today. So I got some decent stuff, modeled the furniture, reworked the thing. So now it's a little bit more usable. And then tomorrow I'll do, I guess, more stuff with this little core of the game. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. I'll be here tomorrow, I guess, 14 hours from now, 10 a.m. PST. Maybe I'll see you then.